Hello everybody, and welcome to the stream. I am Commander Yannick, and this is Elite Dangerous. Some of you may be your first time, some of you may be grizzled veterans of this particular game, but it's all fun, it's all good. How's everyone out there? How are you all doing? Hope you're having a great day. Or to all your lurkers in chat as well, hello to you too. At the moment, I'm at the Shinrata Desert System, Founders World, and presently I'm buying up passenger cabins so we can actually rescue various people in the burning stations from Thargoid attacks. Now this is something that I've done with a sort of, fair regularity in the past. But the idea is to fit as many passenger cabins, especially economy ones, as possible, so you can literally lift as many people out the station as possible for your ship. I'm going to be using the Federal Corvette today, which is a good ship for it. Bear with me a second. Pardon me. Hay fever season has begun, I think, in the UK. But yes, the best way of lifting as many people out of the burning stations as possible is to fit as many of these economy class passenger cabins as possible. That way you can really cram them in and hopefully save as many as we literally can. It's quite a large ship actually, the good old Federal Corvette, or the Vette as it's known to most people. But yeah, there's various burning stations I think in the Pleiades and elsewhere, which I will just check up in a moment exactly the details of, as in where we're going to be heading, but it will definitely be somewhere outside the main bubble. Thargoids do seem to be very protective of their territory and nebulae, various nebula around the bubble, which is good in terms of a gameplay perspective. At least it gives an interesting narrative. But yes, it's definitely something that happens quite a bit. The sort of, it goes in waves, doesn't it? Usually like waves of Thargoid attacks. And this is just the latest one. You can sometimes find interesting materials hanging around those stations as well, because guess what? A partly destroyed station, there's going to be stuff floating there. But today, my build is not going for that. It's purely just about passenger missions and rescue. Pardon me. Right, here's the list. Right, Thargoid presence. These starports have been attacked, so yeah, they're definitely going to need rescue. Okay, almost all of these, well, a lot of these anyway, are in the Pleiades cluster. What's the Coalsack Nebula as well? Muscodark region. Yeah, all of these are worth going to. I think we should head to the Pleiades sector. That makes the most sense. Possibly Artemis, Lob, and Solano. Yeah, that makes the most sense to me. To the galactic map we go. Today's stream isn't going to be that long. I have to go off and get vaccinated later on in real life, but from various galactic plagues that are hanging around. But in all seriousness, yeah, as the title of the stream does suggest, there is going to be a giveaway of Elite Dangerous Horizons towards the end of the stream. And I'm going to randomly pick somebody, because I have tried various methods using software to pick somebody, and all of them seem to have gone wrong so far. So I was like, when I tested them, out of the stream, they seemed to work fine. Tested them in the stream, didn't work so well. So yeah, just zooming out a bit, just give you some scale as well to where we are and what we're doing. But yeah, the Pleiades sector is near enough. It's at Solano, isn't it? I think that's the spelling. Why is it not playing ball with me today? Even if that's the wrong spelling, it should go to the nearest equivalent. Okay, that's better. This is the one. Yeah, the rescue ship is nearby. Artemis Launch. One thing that's important with the burning stations is to take a good amount of heat sinks. Now, I'm one of these people. Most explorers always seems to be a sort of slight divide on who actually wants to use heat sinks in deep space exploration and who doesn't. I mean, I'm one of the people who tends to go for the sort of non-heat sink school of thought, really, because most of the time I don't think I've ever actually found a situation in exploration, at least, that I have actually needed one. I mean, a lot of people claim that they have, but literally, even in the early game when it was much more dangerous, or to a higher probability to be stuck between two stars, even at that point I found that you could fly yourself out of them, but that's just my personal experience. But in this situation, yeah, it's definitely something that you need, because the burning stations, obviously the internal temperature is pretty high, plasma and whatnot flying around, and just the sheer sort of both in case sort of fires within the station itself, it kind of raises the temperature. So having a heat sink is kind of necessary. Also allows you more time within the structure itself, because obviously sometimes you have to maneuver around various bits of debris there. How many jumps to the Pleiades today? 17, so it's, yeah, not too bad. Let's boost a bit to get away from the station. For some reason my camera seems to have failed and gone off stream, and I don't know why. That's rather odd. I'll try and fix it as I go. Oh, that's better. I don't know why it switched itself off. That was very weird. I don't know if it's an anomaly in OBS or not. It switched itself off a couple of times in the live stream as well. Is it frozen again? Oh dear. Let me see. Yeah, it seems to be okay. It's mildly embarrassing when that happens because it just stops. Anyway, resuming our journey to the Pleiades. The Pleiades are a group of stars you can actually see from Earth. It's a cluster of very bright stars, usually sort of blue-white giant sort of Class B stars. Some Class A's there as well. They're also kind of a bluish colour to them, bluish sort of tint. But they're all good. I mean, they say they're a very bright cluster of stars that you can see. Let me see. In from the Earth, it would be viewable, I think, in the constellation of Taurus. But it's definitely visible with the naked eye. You can't make out individual stars so easily in that, but you need a telescope for such a thing. Maybe some binoculars might be okay to see the individual stars. I have to look into that one. And greetings to anyone who's just joined the stream. I'm Commander Yannick, and here we are going to rescue some people for a burning station in the Pleiades. these sort of humanitarian runs, I've done quite a few times before, and I think a lot of people do them as well. It's like a sort of weird, very short distance sort of passenger mission, really. I mean, very short distance because you're basically super cruising away from the station to the rescue ship, which is a mega ship that's, a matter of, a few light seconds away at best. It's usually deliberately very close. Obviously, you can offload as many people as quickly as you can into the rescue ship, and then return to the burning station to rescue some more, and then just repeat ad infinitum, really. To say, if you're in the main bubble and you've never really sort of gone travelling around that much outside, the Pleiades are a pretty good place to start for short excursions because they're sort of separate from the bubble but near enough to provide some kind of journey. I mean, also it's actually, to be fair, a very good short range test for an exploration build because it provides a sort of handy target, really. And there aren't any inhabited systems in between the bubble. Well, actually, there are a couple, actually, but they're very, very sparse, very diluted between the bubble and the sort of Pleiades cluster. But yeah, like lots of other these sort of clusters of human settlement outside the bubble, like you've got ones in the Coalsack Nebula as well, Witch Head Nebula, California Nebula, etc. I don't know why Thargoids often seem to particularly defend nebulae. There's something about them that appeals to them, or I don't know, it's interesting. Maybe their homeworld's in a nebula of some kind, so they feel that it's sort of naturally their territory. So it's an interesting question as why particularly they seem to defend them so strongly, But yeah, so many unanswered questions about the Thargoids generally. I mean, I doubt they'll all be answered anytime soon, but it's definitely a sort of an ongoing question in the elite lore, isn't it? Who are the Thargoids? What are they? Details about them that are sort of relevant in the present lore, because it's always a bit like, Elite Dangerous Frontier Dawn's attitude to the lore is kind of similar to Disney with Star Wars, and like they originally kind of started from scratch with the lore, but then they've been like bringing back some of the old bits of the old lore back in over time. It makes you wonder why they actually did a clean slate in the first place, but that's what they decided to do. Too many jumps now. Only 11. Yeah, the ship does run relatively hot compared to some, especially when refueling on the Star. In some ships, you definitely having a heat sink is probably a good idea, depending on your build, of course. I mean, I think for this kind of run, you're bound to, because obviously I've got quite powerful drag drives in this, making it can move more rapidly than even a standard dirty drive can. Those generate a lot of heat, and that's just the nature of it. If you're an explorer, you're a lot unlikely to have, well, you might have drag drives, I suppose, but most don't because of the fact it generates a lot of heat. See, exactly. I'm hitting the heat warning much earlier than I would otherwise do. Here we go. This is quite a hot star, so it'll probably trigger the heat warning quite quickly. There's always a certain technique of fuel scooping anyway, especially over long distances. Depends on your ship as well, how well it handles in Super Cruise. Problem with something like the Type 9 or Type 10 is that they don't turn almost at all in Super Cruise. So yeah, you have to use different techniques to scoop in that case. Those kind of ships, you absolutely have to have a good fuel scoop. The downsides to some of this, well, I was going to say particularly the Corvette doesn't have a naturally big fuel tank compared to the size of the craft, so I had to add an extra one in. Just for convenience of jumping, that means I have to reduce the number of times I refuel. I say it heats up enough anyway. But I say this particular build is more or less optimized for combat anyway. I just refitted it temporarily for passenger carrying. Still got all the weapons on board that I do normally in sort of PvE combat. But I say this is pretty much a PvE build anyway. I would never use this in a PvP fight, it's just too much of a target. Still, welcome to the stream, anyone who's just joined. I'm Commander Yannick. We're on our way to save some people from burning stations today. And also give away a copy of Elite Dangerous Horizons, which naturally includes the base game as well. I did think about giving away Odyssey at this point, but because of recent events, you know, a lot of people aren't sure about Odyssey. But I will give away Odyssey at some point, just not yet. Especially if you're just starting to get into Elite, it's probably best to start with the Horizons levels anyway. And once you get used to that, then start playing Odyssey. Otherwise, it's sort of like, to a degree, it's kind of jumping in the deep end as far as these flying ships and everything is concerned. I suppose in Odyssey you could start just from foot passenger sort of level and just work your way up that way. I know that's part of the idea and also the FPS stuff, but if you want to do the space angle of it, it's probably instead of flying ships and all that good stuff, you should, well, I think it's probably easier to start in Horizons in that regard, but that's just my opinion. But I say the full Odyssey hasn't been released yet anyway, so it's early days really. I have itchy nose today for some reason. Yeah, I think I blame it on hay fever, I really do. This is the only thing about the sort of spring starts to give way to summer gradually. More pollen in the air. It's not so much fun. One thing about being in space, you've got the filtered air everywhere. You have to worry about hay fever. Okay. Yeah, we should be at the Pleiades shortly, and then start rescuing some people. I think the burning stations themselves are quite good bits of artwork, as in the way they sort of modified them, obviously with like bits missing and, you know, obvious plasma fires burning into space. It's quite realistic, really. I mean, maybe slightly more variation would be good as well, as in like different sections missing on different stations. But these are sort of small sort of things, really, in the grand scheme. Okay, here we go. Right, a couple of jumps away, I think. We'll be there shortly. I think some people have claimed that I think Elite Dangerous isn't necessarily the best thing to stream, but it can be. It really depends on what you're doing. There's certain things are actually genuinely very interesting. I think the Burning Stations is definitely one of those. I mean, the thing is with Elite, it's such a wide open game, is that it can be very intense and action packed, but it can be sort of very sedate and almost nothing happens at all, and anything in between. But that's one of the beauties of it, really. It's one of the great things about it, is that you can more or less seek out as much or as little interaction as you would like, not just with other people, but with, just anything within game itself. You could just land on a planet somewhere, be completely still, and just watch the scenery all the way up to the most intense sort of PvP battles, and yeah. But they say it is a very sort of broad, because it's an MMO anyway, isn't it? So it's a very sort of broad thing. You do whatever you feel is necessary, feel is right for you, as long as it's within the rules of the game, basically. Other than that, do what the hell you want. Obviously, if you piss people off, then there are sort of penalties to that, but that's just normal human interaction, isn't it? Like social penalties than anything in-game, per se. Yeah, this ship does not run cold. But then again, it was never designed to. It's supposed to design to blow things up. Thought I had a new chatter for a second. It was just the automatic update. Okay. You see other nebulae in the background as well. Not just the Pleiades itself. It is all beautiful, though. It's always interesting when you're approaching a nebula how it sort of slowly gets bigger on the screen, in the skybox, bit by bit, until you're enveloped by it. It's a genuinely beautiful sight to see. And again, that's part of what draws people to Elite. The beauty of space, immaculately recreated. I've noticed the frame drop has been unusually high today for some reason. I don't know why that is. It's just the way, I suppose it does happen sometimes, probably into networking problems. Yeah, that's annoying. The frame rate's not bad, it's just the frame amount of drops does seem to be surprisingly high. Yeah, this is interesting. You actually see the nebula there in the center, the Pleiades Nebula, and then off to the right. Is that the California Nebula off to the right? Or another one is the Rosette Nebula. I have to look it up, but yeah. Thargoid's dictatorship. So the Thargoids actually run the system now. Well, that's a new one. There's the all-seeing eye of Barnard's Loop there to the left. Yeah, it's one of those things that I think most explorers have. It's just a sort of automatic reaction to scan every system you go into. even if you've been there loads of times before. So it's just a knee-jerk reaction. It really is. Or yeah, that was interesting. That was very close. It's an interesting experience, though. Nearly hitting the ring. You can usually fly between most of the rings in Elite. That's what makes it cool. Yeah, there's a few other fleet carriers nearby. They are mega ships anyway, but they're not sort of technically like, NPC mega ships. They're player ones. That's what a fleet carrier is. It's a mega ship owned by a player. Originally, they're going to be owned by player groups, but for some reason, Frontier abandoned that. And I don't know why, because squadrons are a thing in the game. I have my own squadron. We don't do a huge amount as an in-game squadron. We do things as people or as a group, but usually that's like on expeditions. But the actual squadron element of it in-game isn't used all that much. But it would have been a lot more, I suspect, if there had been a collective ownership of a carrier, or at least that been an option. You could own one collectively as a squadron, or you could own one as an individual, but the individual being a lot more expensive relatively. That would have been a great idea, but I don't know why they didn't do that. Maybe it's like rows about cost or something. I don't know, but I wouldn't have thought that'd be much of a problem. As long as there was like an agreement and you all sort of put money towards it in game, or everyone put a certain percentage or something. Yeah, actually, I don't need to go to the rescue ship per se, so just going here just to show you exactly what it is and where it is relative to where we're going. This is a very, very cool view, actually. Look onto the external camera for this. Yeah, the frame rate is being a little bit weird today. Or the drops particularly are a bit annoying, but here we are. This is what I was saying about the view. The rescue ship, mega ship over the ring, and the volcanic world off to the left. Still, best get on with the rescue. Okay, Artemis Lodge itself. Is that the other side of the ring then? I think so. Slightly more inconvenient being the other side of the ring, but it is where it is. To deal with it in its own way. And hello to any lurkers in the chat. You're perfectly free to chat with me if you wish. You can want to continue to lurk, that's also cool. Artemis Lodge is actually inside the ring, isn't it? Yeah. I don't think I've been here for a while, that's probably the reason. I wasn't sure which side it actually was. Yeah, the drop rate's become a lot higher all of a sudden, and I don't know why. The frame rate's dropped quite a lot too, which is I do apologise for. It's annoying. Still, not much I can do about it, I'm afraid. Just hope the amount of drops doesn't increase. Indeed, I do intend to rescue survivors. So yeah, I will be doing that. Getting a view to the outside the station with the burning plasma fire. You can see down towards the bottom of the, well, in the centre of the image, I suppose. They're sort of raging fires there. Burning plasma in space. I better ask for docking permission before I do anything else. Okay. Don't know why the main game's being so slow as well today. This is not a happy thing. Yep, I do know there's high temperatures ahead. One heatsink gone already. Yeah, this is really not good. This is not good. Been hit by a bit of debris there, but that's just kind of standard. You can see all the various debris hanging around. The fire still burning within. This is all manual. You have to do it on manual for this. There's no automatics for this. Yeah, I can see that. For some reason, it doesn't seem to want to do the docking computer thing. Oh, come on. You already did it a moment ago. Why are you making it difficult for me now? I hate it when the docking computer's like this. It just becomes uncooperative. Not docking computer, the landing computer. And literally in the right place. This is annoying me a great deal. Okay. If I dock perfectly, it still seems to ignore it. Oh, now it's got it. Third or fourth pass. Thank you, computer. Thank you for obliging. Wow. But that's sometimes the way with a landing computer. I think whether on the surface or... In the station it doesn't happen as much. In the station it tends to be more reliable, but, you know... Even with the heat, it shouldn't be that much of a difference. Artemis Lodge has seen better days, Commander. Indeed it has. I can tell things are not going well here. Yeah. Right, let's see who we can save. Doesn't really matter which faction it's for, I'll just pick as many as I can. One thing that's always surprised me is like the actual amount you get paid for this transfer. I know it's a very short journey, but even so, you'd have thought people who are desperate would pay, in a lot of cases, almost anything to get out. I don't expect everybody would, of course. There's going to be some people who have a greater amount of money than others, but it is kind of weird how a lot of them just don't seem to want to pay to get off a burning station in space. It's like, it's kind of weird, you know, especially such large groups of them. yeah, literally picking as big a group as I possibly can, just to get as many off as I can in a short period. See if I can find another one that's a big group. Yeah, 12 refugees, that's good. And that's me full up. Right, on the way to the rescue ship. Really? Temperature critical? You don't say. Yeah. Naturally, it's going to be quite high. As I say, this ship does not run cold, so the heat sinks are very much necessary. I think it's the mission critical messages. They almost never are mission critical. It's usually just something annoying that they want to tell you, or people trying to give you some kind of random work that you're not interested in doing within games, like that you never even asked for. It's like, why would I want to do this strange delivery mission of yours in the middle of nowhere when I'm literally in the middle of doing something else and I've just been pushed off course by one of the explosions? Which does happen, hence what this is. Sometimes having a combat ship related build is actually quite efficient, because it's less likely to be damaged by buffeting around. But that's just one possible way of doing this. Now outside the station, everything should be cooler, very literally. The way that the star there sort of burning its light through the ring. But it's cool. Always a great tip for anyone who's not been playing Elite long. Another way to get your ship turned really quickly is to boost and then turn. Improves the ship's agility no end as well. Right, to clear the asteroid field first. Well, the rings, really. Okay. Well, I hope so. You're really sort of confusing my computers. That's not your fault. You have to clear the ring system first out of mass lock. I suppose I could have entered Super Cruise and gone around the other side of the ring, but it would have been much more annoying to do that. Much more problematic. And there's no point in also people sending me messages in the middle of a rescue. So like, yeah, I'm trying to rescue you. What do you think I'm trying to do? You know. Like time bonus is like, you think the fact that you're safe is the most important thing. That's being like a minute or two quicker is not going to make a huge difference. But that's what I'm saying. It's like this. It's kind of weirdly very realistic in some ways, but not in others. Not in others being that, you know, some people, especially the rich, would definitely pay to get off a burning station very quickly, you would think. But, yeah. And also, I don't think most, you know, refugees are going to pay you a time bonus somehow, you know. Especially when they don't seem to have enough money to actually, you know, pay for anything at all. It's like, what? How does that make any sense on any level? It doesn't really. I think the time bonus thing is actually just a residual mechanic left over from more conventional sort of delivery missions where there are time bonuses on offer. Because in the case you're delivering passengers rather than cargo. But yeah, it's a mechanic that is just completely unnecessary. It doesn't really do anything. But it's a very pretty place though to have a rescue, I will say. Actually, refuel, repair, rearm, restock. Restocking particularly on things like, not ammunition as much in this case, but heat sinks. Because obviously I fired a few of those during the rescue. Obviously you're not saving passengers for the money, but it's just an interesting point about, you know, the economics of this, even within in the sort of universe that of Elite, doesn't make much sense. That's getting rid of all the completing all the passenger missions. Yeah, I think I'll take the data for that. Scan data. This is the thing that sometimes on missions you can actually get materials or data, scan data, that'd be useful for engineering later on. Should really have taken it for all of them, but I didn't do it for one. It's not always on offer though. That's the thing. Okay. Might be a good time to actually go back to the station and do the same thing again. Let's look at the passenger lounge. I don't think he has got, as I thought, it's inactive anyway. Seller factors. Yeah, I'm going to sell off all those bounties bounty vouchers that I got from a bit of pew pew. I think during the charity stream. So yeah, there's some good ones there. 5 million, 6 million. It's nothing to sniff at. I will naturally take those. I don't think there's anything here. No, there isn't. Now this is interesting. Okay, at the moment I haven't got any of these, but sometimes you do find them floating around. Escape pods, black box, personal effects, etc. Political prisoners, I've never actually encountered, I don't think. It exists somewhere, no doubt, but yeah, damaged escape, occupied escape pod. Now, the thing is, the damaged escape pod still might be occupied, but yeah, the difference is less obvious as to what it is. Damaged occupied escape pod, possibly? But either way, yeah, personal effects are quite spooky in their own particular way for very obvious reasons. Like finding stuff at an air crash, really, personal effects and those. It's not nice at all. Not nice in any way. Still, best oppressor. It's a good name as well, Artemis Lodge, I think. Certainly one of the more unusual stations, definitely one of the most dramatic locations. Ooh, there's a lovely anaconda over there. Nearly got in my flight path. I'm just monitoring the frame rate drop. I probably shouldn't talk about this all the time on the stream, but it's still really high, and yeah, maybe it's just the local internet works being sort of full of traffic right now, but I shouldn't be dropping that many. Oh well. Hello, anyone who's just joined the stream. I'm Commander Yannick, and this is the Burning Stations rescue, and also the Elite Dangerous Horizons giveaway. Hello, anyone who's scanning me now. I find my way around the other side of the station. Operation Ida, Coriolis Starport. Operation Ida themselves have been restoring, I think, all of these damaged stations for some time. And I think that's pretty much what they do, isn't it? No, I have no intention of hanging around. It's not very easy to do that anyway, if you want to. Indeed, I will proceed with caution. One of those things, they don't need a warning after like you've done it a few times. It's like the first time I understand. Oh, that's interesting. See the plume there? That's pretty good graphics as well. I like that. Burning into space like that. I've got to avoid some of this debris because it's a big ship. It's well shielded, but even then you don't want to be unnecessarily impeded. As always with this, I think even in like relatively cool ships, you probably end up using at least one heatsink during the flight inside. It's becoming more obscure, definitely. The view inside is not so clear. Yes, indeed. Thank you very much. At least when you actually get taken down inside the hangar, the temperature does tend to stabilize pretty quickly. Yep, I'm aware of that. It is standard evacuation procedure. Okay, hello, wannabe savees, refugees fleeing burning station. See what the biggest groups are before I take any on. 22, yeah, that's a nice one. I wish they'd stop with that. I don't know if they can actually shut that off the mission critical message, because it's never mission critical. This is the thing. If it genuinely was, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But it virtually never is anything critical. It's usually something that's just, oh, they want to tell you something, but it's not critical. I think the only time that it might be considered critical is if you're going in delivery and they want to change the destination of it, but yeah. Even then, it's irritating as hell. But yeah, it's more irritating the ones that don't actually have a reason for it, which is most of them. Okay. 2 refugees, yeah, exactly. For the remainder. Full house now. And on the way. Back out again. It's definitely one of the most dramatic elements of the game, I think. The burning stations. Especially when they were first introduced, it was quite a breath of fresh air. Having a sort of new situation, new scenario to deal with. Thank you very much for that advice. I will do so. Yes, I do use a few heat sinks for flying in this kind of scenario. You hear the heatsink there deployed, jettisoned. The core temperature goes down. It still goes up pretty quickly on this spacecraft though. It just hit some debris there. Sort of deflects you somewhat. That's why you can't, well you can fly full out if you've got a small movable craft, I suppose. With this it's quite big and relatively lumbering, so. Another heatsink away. Yeah, 2% heat. Okay, now through to the rescue ship. It'll probably hit the exclusion, won't it, in a second? Or will it? Yeah, I thought so. It drops Yeah, I thought that might happen. It's just quicker to just go through the field directly rather than try and super cruise into it. Yeah, the flight to Artemis Lodge is a very short one anyway. Sorry, Artemis Lodge rescue ship, I should say. Just makes sense to boost into it, doesn't it? There's another thing I don't quite understand at the moment. The OBS shut the music off for reasons that are best known to it. Apologies for that, because I quite like the music on this. Oh dear. What have you been doing to me, OBS? So any of you in the chat, is closed captions working for you at the moment? Because mine seems to have seized up for some bizarre reason. I don't know why. Oh, it started working again now. This is what I don't quite understand about some of the software here. It sort of works intermittently. Very strange indeed. Yeah, I just sell the, sorry, not sell. I will take the refugees' money instead of influence or reputation. Because I don't come here very often anyways. Those things don't really matter. Faction sort of state doesn't really matter that much of a difference to me here. I'm looking for engineering materials if I can get them from people. The money is kind of pretty much inconsequential in this. I'll take it anyway, but in the grand scheme of things, it's kind of inconsequential. So there you have it. Has anyone in the chat experienced with OBS at all? OBS Studio? Because very strange things have been happening with it recently, as I say, like whole things shutting down, like whole sources being sort of excluded, like cameras and music and what have you. It's kind of bizarre, because it just seems to happen for no reason at all. And I just don't get it. Still, I shouldn't worry about it too much. It seems to be working okay now. How many more runs should I do today for the burning station? Do a couple more at least, I think. Makes some sense. Yeah, the frame rate drop is not as bad as it was, but it's still too high. Various reputation changes, yeah. Thank you. Operation Ida. Let's get away from the ship. To the other side of the ring. I mean, you can super cruise one way to Artemis Lodge, but you can't the other to the rescue ship. It's a quirk of the game, I suppose. Like this, you can come out of super cruise at Artemis Lodge, but you can't actually do that to get to the other side of the. I was gonna say the ring, but yeah, that is the correct sort of way of putting it, isn't it? Yeah, he sounds pretty spooked, that guy. The announcer. So the station control, I should say. All these other ships hanging around here. How many are they supposed to have saved? Especially looking at the detail, though, of the burning station. I get some distance slightly. And then come back in. Wonder what they'd be scanning me now of all times. I'm a rescue ship, for crying out loud, you know. There's no point in scanning me. Literally none at all. There it goes again. Why would you do that? Makes no sense. In any way, shape or form. Oh yeah, I forgot to ask permission. I forget sometimes that the burning station, despite the very need, seem to be very peculiar and particular about wanting permission. It's like, but I'm here to help, dimwits, you know. Why is it actually that important? Infractions? Like, well, why? Ugh, idiot. Do you actually want me to help you or not? You know, it's... yeah. Hey, Falcon, how's it going? Hope you're having a good one. I requested like a few times. It seems to be like a bug. It didn't seem to be okay with it. Why isn't it okay with me docking there?
You're cleared for approach. Watch out for any stray debris when you get inside the station, Commander.
Oh, that's cool. Having a day off. Yeah. Sounds nice. Especially at the end of a week, that's quite a good thing to have going into the weekend. Makes you have a nice sort of 3-day run. I'm alright. Oh, hey, bad cops. Yeah, exactly. A Wooga abandoned ship. Yeah, literally that. A Wooga abandoned ship, isn't it? It's like Red Dwarf all over again.
I advise you get to your pad ASAP.
I am indeed doing that, Mr. Flight Director. Oh, well, I've hit something on the way down. Yep, I know the temperature's pretty high. So what have you been up to there, bad cops? Hope you're having a good day as well.
Time here, Commander. Don't stay here any longer than you have to.
Oh no, I won't hang around. I definitely won't hang around. I can't believe they're actually trying to stop me for infractions. Wait a minute, so I can't actually use the contacts anonymous. So basically, because I didn't actually ask for document permission until too late, they won't let me rescue people from here. That's completely insane. Okay, well, I'm not going to rescue anyone then. You basically stopped me from rescuing people. When the refugees burn to death in the station, you'll have to tell them that you were the one to blame, you know. What a fool. Oh dear. I suppose I could pay it off at the rescue ship. But even so, it's just like, what idiocy is this? It's even worse than a lot of real life, you know, rescue and charity services otherwise. I mean, some of them make mistakes, but this is quite insane, really. Like, no, we'd rather refugees burn to death in the station because you've got some kind of marginal fine on your ship. Like, yeah, that makes no sense on any level. Still, not to worry. It's the way you spend Friday. Yeah, I'll go back to the rescue ship. Silly sods, though. Maybe I'll do something else. Well, good to hear that, bad cops. Yeah.
Ship restraints withdrawn. Keep an eye on your core heat levels on the way out.
Yeah, make your way to evac points where you will not be allowed to be rescued by a commander because the station administrator is petty as hell and would rather you die in a burning station just because of some minor docking infraction. There you go, bad cop. That's the Awuga you wanted. Yeah, I'll pay it off quickly, but it's just like it's so extremely petty, it's unbelievable. So how many of you guys been vaccinated already? Are you able to sort of go out and party now? Wherever you may be? I'm not assuming everyone necessarily was a party animal to start with, but you never know.
You're in the clear. Swing back for more survivors if you get a chance, Commander.
Well, that's good to hear, Falcon. I think more and more people that are hearing my friends, family, and sort of people in Elite and beyond. I think more and more people are getting it now, and it's yeah, things are looking up. Obviously, I don't think things are going to be ever like completely the way they were, kind of normal, but there'll be like some like relative sense of normality, I hope. It would be nice anyway. Well, that's good, bad cops. I'm glad to hear it. You already had your first then, so awesome. Excellent. Yeah. It's always quite funny actually, because in the UK it's one of the few things that's actually going right in the pandemic. It's actually like almost everything else has gone wrong, but the vaccination program is actually pretty good. It's really like deeply ironic. But there you go. To be fair, it's not actually anything to do with the government. This one, it's just the health system actually like does it autonomously despite the government. So, yeah. Oh, good. That's great, Falcon. Yeah. Well, she's now free to do what she wants. Yeah. But then again, it'd be so much fun to go out partying without you. Yeah. We should have an elite party at some point, definitely in real life. I think that would be fun. I think we said before, it's like it'd be nice if there were more events around sort of Europe, North America, etc., around the world that Frontier put on before, like FX17. It'd be, or even events like LaveCon, but just in more places, so that you get members of the community sort of meeting up with each other. Because at the moment, obviously, it's like FX17 was in the UK, LaveCon's in the UK. But I think some people have like done like small meetups at other conventions, but it's been a bit more low key. Well, it is more time for you to play Elite Falcon, absolutely, yeah. This is the thing, is the Odyssey update's going to be out on Wednesday, isn't it? This coming Wednesday. So that's going to be interesting. I mean, considering you got a whole new massive update, and considering that Frontier Developments almost never ever put it out on exactly on time, it's going to be a while that day before people will be able to play it. I think. I mean, fingers crossed it'll go well, but it never runs like clock. Release days never run like clockwork. I think that's the only thing you can say for sure, really. That's a good point, actually, about bugs. I mean, we've already got way too many bugs as it is, yeah. I mean, I was about to say that I don't see how they could put more bugs into Horizons if they're not changing it yet. Because they're not going to upgrade Horizons until, the autumn, when the console version of Odyssey comes out. But as you say, you never know. It's like, I hope they don't find any new bugs or introduce any new bugs by accident into the system. That would be very sad. Very sad indeed. Yeah, I'm just hoping for something like akin to a smooth rollout and like a playable version of Odyssey. I know it's not going to be perfect. I know there will be bugs, but something that's at least like vaguely playable. I mean, something that runs at least as well as the last phase of Alpha, hopefully better. But yeah, expecting perfection first time out is a probably unrealistic thing. Okay, station controller. I will ignore you from now on in. You've already been rude enough to me today. And petty enough with me today. I can understand why a lot of people have put off buying Odyssey until it comes out so they can see more of what's going on with it, what the state of play is, because obviously it's going to be probably a little while before the bugs are sort of, almost the major bugs are eliminated from Odyssey. So yeah, I don't blame anyone for waiting till that happens to buying it, but I'll definitely stream Odyssey quite a lot when it comes out. I'm just hoping it doesn't frame drop as much as it is today. It's just like I've got 21% frame drops. It's not a laughing matter. Well, I can laugh at it, but I'm not going to. Yeah, all of this you have to do on manual. No choice. At least the computer seems to be playing ball this time. The landing computer. I hate it when that happens. It's got pushed aside slightly by an explosion. That's better. Ah, thank you.
Contact. We're taking your ship directly into the hangar, Commander. Note, this is a standard emergency procedure.
Okay, hello emergency protocol. Standard emergency procedure, people lose their minds at the same time. I don't know, but it does seem to happen a lot. I do like the effects on this, the way the station screen is flickering. It's a nice detail, definitely. They're sending me the critical messages already. It's like, well, do you really have to? And we haven't even left the station yet. Some people have literally no patience, especially NPC passengers. It's like, yes, you're going to leave the station soon. Please calm down. It's only so quick I can do this. I'm going to find a way to try and turn that off. It's just too irritating otherwise. Okay, that's better. This isn't actually a CG that I'm doing. This is just like a general rescue mission, Falcon. There might be a CG involved with this, but not that I'm aware of at present. To be fair, I just saw reports yesterday on various YouTube channels about, you know, the Thargoid attacks. I know it's actually in Galnet as well, but then so I thought, okay, the stations are burning again. This is pretty a good time to go out there and do some rescuing.
Get out while you still can, Commander.
Is there a CG in progress at the moment? I know there was one quite recently, but I don't know if there's one like right now in game. Yeah, there's all the black boxes nearby and other stuff. I mean, I could go separately and try and retrieve a lot of those, but I don't think it's worth it. With this big ship as well, it's... I mean, I try to use limpets, which I frequently have on bigger ships, to try and retrieve a lot of those materials at the station. A smaller ship might be able to scoot them more easily, but not this. Yeah, there's a few players I know also who do a similar thing when the burning stations cycle sort of starts up again, which it does inevitably. There was, seem to be, I say earlier, there were like Thargoid waves, and there seems to be like the latest wave of attacks, and it's always stations that seem to be in the outlying nebula, away from the bubble, or slightly outside the bubble, like California Nebula, Coalsack, here in the Pleiades, Witchhead, so on and so forth. You know. But yeah, the Thargoids, they certainly seem to like their nebula. Why they like it so much is definitely in the realm of speculation. Okay, for the rest of today's stream, I am planning. I'll keep doing this for a bit, but I will probably do something else in the not too distant future. I've got about 30 minutes before I have to get going for my own vaccination and what have you. I will try and do the giveaway at some point between now and then, probably towards like the very end of the stream. But yeah, those of you out there who want this prize, you'll have to tune in definitely, or at least to start making yourself known in chat. I know there's some lurkers out there who definitely are around who've never actually said anything in chat, but you know, to you lurkers out there, if you want the prize, you'll have to say something. Right, let's have a look. Okay, Falcon, fair enough. You already have 3-0 out of the competition. That's entirely fair. It's entirely fair. Right. Yeah, anyone else in there who already owns Horizons, you could always use it as an alternate account. Apart from Falcon, who doesn't want another account, but that's entirely up to him. But yeah, it's always a good thing having an extra account, to be honest. As you do exploration things while you're still in the bubble, and vice versa, you know, with different accounts in different places. So that's cool. It's definitely sort of gives you more flexibility when choosing just to do one thing or other activity. You can be in 2 places at the same time, doing 2 completely different things if you like. But as I say, it's up for grabs a bit later on, in less than half an hour, in fact. Oh, cool. Okay, all the refugees are now safe. I think I've saved a few for today. I think I might head back to the bubble, actually. So, yeah. Done my good deed, definitely. That's a good point, Falcon, about having multiple accounts. Yeah, one for exploration, one colony, another one for the bubble. Yeah, absolutely. It's a good way of playing it. I mean, broadly speaking, I do actually have 3 accounts. One of them I don't really use that much. Like once in a blue moon I might. But the other 2, I have usually one out on it, you know, exploring somewhere, and usually one in the bubble. At the moment, my main account is obviously here in the bubble. Yeah, I don't actually want to go to the University of Miners, that's the thing. I mean, I could, but I'm probably not going to do that. Okay, back to Founders World we go. Possibly the most visited single system of all elite streamers, I think. Unless they base themselves somewhere else, most all of them seem to come out of Shinra Desra on a regular basis. Which is totally understandable, you know. Right. Delphi apparently also run by the Thargoids. Thargoids officially a faction now. Close flyby of the ship. Okay, cool. Clear the rescue ship, mass lock, and then I can be on my way to the Delphi system. After the place is called Delphi in Greece, isn't there, as well? Never been, but it has our ancient significance. Ooh, I mean hyperdicted. I don't think this account's actually been hyperdicted so far. It's always been my alt account that has experienced it. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen, some extra fun events. I don't have the shutdown field on this one, so I'm going to have to be a completely passive passenger on this one. I can see it over there, the Thargoid ship on the scanner. And it's interfering with my ship. Ah, you hear it. Energy surge detected. Ah, there it goes. Drive and all the major systems are now offline. Being scanned in their particular way of scanning. I think I'll follow it once the systems get back online. Okay. There it goes. It's like a flower, isn't it, really? Unknown interference. And there it disappears into which space? Yeah. Okay, that was interesting at least. I do enjoy a good Thargoid encounter. Not been one for a while, but especially the hyperdictions because they're kind of random events. I don't think there's any pattern or trick. A lot of people thought that if you got like Guardian or other Thargoid technology on board your ship, that it would be a trigger, but for example, my alt account has been hyperdicted quite a lot more than this one, and that's never had any Thargoid technology on it at all. And it was also hyperdicted even before I had any Guardian technology that had ever been onboarded at any point too, so it can't be that, So zero correlation there, I'm afraid. Right, back to the bubble we go. I do wonder if actually the Frontier servers they are having problems, because there's been a huge slowdown of frame rate. I mean, I don't think the local demand on the actual sort of internet service is that bad. There's not been any sort of major failures, and I think the actual data rate's still pretty good. The number of frame slowdowns or drop frames is surprisingly high. Not totally sure as to why that should be, but interesting. Okay, I will be back in but one moment. Literally give me 1 minute and I will be back. Okay, I'm back in the room. I literally don't understand why it keeps doing this. It's just so bizarre. I'm going to check my system as soon as I get off stream. I don't think there's any problems with it or anything, but yeah, OBS is definitely behaving weirdly at the moment. I think the game itself's pretty slow, but yeah. It's kind of weird. I go away for 2 seconds, the music should keep playing, but it didn't. It stopped for some bizarre reason. OBS, why do you do this to me? Hello to you who just joined in the chat and the stream. My name is Commander Yannick, and we are moving away from our rescues now in the Pleiades sector, back towards the bubble. And hopefully to more the central location of the bubble, like Shinrarta Dezhra, once more. The ever-present place. Has anyone else been playing Elite today? And how is it going for you? Is anyone else experiencing any kind of slowdown playing Elite? I'm trying to work out if there's actually a Frontier server problem or not. I think on the charity stream I had some slowdowns, but only after been going for about 12 hours though by that time, so that's more understandable. This at the moment is kind of weird. Okay, that's interesting, Falcon. Yeah. Yeah, I was playing a little bit yesterday without any issue either, but yeah, I don't understand it at the moment. So many bad things happening at the same time. Well, not necessarily bad, but just, slowdowns and just things being irritating. I do apologise for this, everyone out there. It's these things are sort of somewhat beyond my control at the moment. Thing is, my system is actually perfectly adapted almost to play Horizons. And it has no problems playing Horizons normally. So I'm trying to work out if it was some kind of external problem, like with say internet sort of relays between myself and the Frontier servers, or the Frontier servers themselves, causing an issue. It wouldn't be the first time, I suppose. As long as I keep going, that's the main thing. Yeah. I think the drop frames has also improved slightly, so that's good. That's interesting observation, Falcon, actually. The game's starting to stutter about after 2 hours of playtime. I remember JBL on the Friday stream, last week's charity stream, I mean not this Friday, last week's one, was saying that he thought that that OBS was more or less the problem, that that Twitch's own software worked a lot better. Maybe he's right. I mean, I might have a go at that if it is more reliable, but yeah, I'll try whatever works really. I'm not too bothered as long as it actually has the lowest possible amount of CPU load. Yeah. The thing is, with OBS today, I've not actually been playing it for 2 hours. I've only been on the stream for 1 hour 40. So it's not that long either. That's what surprises me. Yeah, after a long time on stream, if you're multiple hours, it makes sense that it might start having issues, but it's surprisingly early today. Okay, on with the show. Hyades sector, yeah. After the not quite so famous star cluster. Sounds very similar to the Pleiades, but it is actually a thing, the Hyades cluster. Much smaller and less famous, less bright star cluster that can also be seen from Earth. Yeah, mine varies a bit more than that, Falcon. It's between about 3% and about 12, depending on what's going on. But what surprises me is not so much that. I mean, OBS has not been running that high a percentage for my system. Just the actual game itself has actually been slowing down and stuttering a bit today. And there's no obvious reason why, because it's not taking up that much of my memory or my resources. It takes up no more than a quarter of my system resources at any one time. So it's a bit of a mystery why it would slow down and stutter all of a sudden. But this is the thing about streaming, it's not necessarily the most straightforward of arts and sciences to get to grips with. Because there's so many factors that can affect the performance of a stream. I have to check out what my upload bitrate is. I think at the moment it's putting out about 3,300 kilobytes a second. So it's not high, that's pretty low really. Yeah. No, it's usually between like 2,900 and 3,300. But that's well within the capabilities of the local internet to process. So I'm pretty sure it's not that. Right, okay, we're getting to that point where I'm going to have to shut that computer up, otherwise it's going to annoy me more. No, not really. Getting to that point of the stream where the giveaway will happen. If you want to enter, press exclamation mark and enter. And let the word enter. Actually, no, scratch that. Put the word exclamation mark and win. If you wish to enter the prize draw for Elite Dangerous Horizons, which the base game is included with it as well. I'll have to check that out, Falcon. Look at my settings. I have a horrible feeling it's one of those days that no one actually wants to win this. The last guy, I couldn't track him down. I literally spent several days after the last prize draw to actually try and track him down. I sent him a friend request and everything. Never responded. Very weird. Okay, my bitrate is CBR 3000 kbps, low latency, all good really, all within sort of quite conventional standard settings as far as I'm aware. It's worked quite well. That's the thing, is it's worked quite well for a while. It's just not worked well recently. And I kept these settings pretty much since the time I started streaming, and it just seems to have gotten kind of gradually worse, or there've been more problems in the last sort of week or so. And I've not changed anything. That's the weird thing about it. There's just all the settings are the same. I've not installed any sort of new bits of software. There's been no video sort of driver updates, anything like that really. Nothing that would cause it that I can find out. Oh well. Looks like no one wants to win today. Oh, that makes me sad. It really does. Okay. Thing is, the latency, there's only ultra low and low and normal anyway, so there's not really that many choices available. I suppose normal might be. It'll change when I change stream anyway, so yeah, that's fine. I'll fiddle with it later on. What I might do is I might stream later on today again, just to see how things will be any different. Because I say I'm gonna have to go in a minute anyway. But I thought being a Friday more people would be watching, but no, it's the opposite. I actually got more people watching yesterday than I have today, which is kind of funny, but yeah, slightly ironic as well. Maybe it's the now that everyone's getting vaccinated, we're all going out and not playing Elite anymore. Or inside watching Twitch. I don't know really, but yeah. It's a funny thought at least. Okay, here we go. Right, I think once the ship's cooled down, I'll probably bring it around, and then I'll end the stream in a moment. But thank you for everyone who's watched today. Thank you for everybody in the chat and anyone who's been lurking. Your lurkers out there are loved anyway, even if you don't say anything. So I'll appreciate you anyway. But yeah, it's been a good stream. I think I'll have to roll over the prize giveaway to the next stream that I do. Because there's 2 streams in a row that either person has not been around or no one's wanted it. Oh my. Oh my, oh my. Still not to worry. I will see you all in the next one. And until then, fly safe. Or if you can't fly safe, fly in whatever way you want. Backwards, upside down, etc. Have a fun day. And I may do a bonus stream later on, depending on how things go. But well, either way, I will see you either later today or on Tuesday when the normal streaming service will resume. Have a good one, everyone. And I will catch you later.